Manila Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte warned on Wednesday he would deal harshly with militants after declaring martial law on Mindanao Island following a failed raid on a hideout of Islamic State-linked rebels. Duterte cut short a visit to Russia and placed the southern island of 22 million people under military rule on Tuesday and said he would keep it that way for a year if necessary. Fighting abated in the mainly Muslim city of Marawi as troops sought to contain dozens of rebels of the MOP group who escaped a botched raid on Tuesday on an apartment and took over streets, bridges and buildings and sought to block army reinforcements. Duterte is a Mindanao native and has long threatened martial law to destroy two groups linked to Islamic State, which he warns is trying to gain a foothold in the Philippines. He said the situation in Mindanao would be similar to the tough 1970s rule of late dictator Ferdinand Marcos, remembered by many Filipinos as one of the darkest chapters of their recent history. And quote, to my countrymen who have experienced martial law, it would not be any different from what President Marcos did. And pose DB harsh, end quote, Duterte said on board a flight back to Manila in a video sent by his staff. And quote, if it would take a year to do it then we and pose LL do it. If it and pose S over with of month, then I and pose DB happy. To my countrymen, do not be too scared. I and pose am going home. I will deal with the problem once I arrive. And quote, 2 soldiers and a policeman were killed and 12 people wounded in Marawi, where MOT fighters took over buildings and set fire to a school, a church and a jail. The military and government gave few details about the clashes, nor did they say if any rebels had been killed. Authorities insisted the situation was under control, but residents who fled told a different story and said Marawi was in the hands of the rebels who had allowed civilians to leave. And quote, the city is still under the control of the armed group. They are all over the main roads and 2 bridges leading to Marawi, and quote, student Rabani Modem told Reuters in nearby Panther town, where some residents were leaving in overloaded trucks. And quote, I was in school when we heard gunfire. When we came out there were bloodstains in the building, but we did not see dead or wounded. And quote, critics and even economists chided Duterte for what they saw as an overreaction in declaring martial law on an island the size of South Korea after an incident in one city. Some activists expressed concern that it would lead to human rights abuses. Martial law will last an initial 60 days. According to the Constitution, Duterte has until Thursday night to explain his decision to Congress. He was due back in Manila on Wednesday afternoon. TUSDAY and pose raid was aimed at capturing Isnalon Hapilon, a leader of the Abu Sayyaf group notorious for piracy, banditry and for kidnapping and beheading Westerners. The United States has since 2001 offered a bounty of $5 million for Hapilon and pose's arrest. The military said they believed he was wounded during the latest fighting. The MOD and Abu Sayyaf have pledged allegiance to Islamic State, also known as ISIS, and have proved fierce opponents for the military. A photograph from one resident showed a black flag flying in Marawi that looked similar to that of Islamic State. Duterte has warned repeatedly that Mindanao, an impoverished region beset by decades of unrest by separatist and Marxist guerrillas, was at risk of and by Islamic State fighters driven out of Iraq and Syria. He has made development and foreign investment in Mindanao a priority of his presidency. Armed Forces spokesman Edgar Arevalo urged the public not to be alarmed if they saw checkpoints and soldiers. And quote, this is not a reflection of a major conflict looming, but this is a reflection of the capacity of our security forces to respond to any threat, and quote, he said. He said the MOT group was showing off to Islamic State. And quote, they are merely courting the acclamation of ISIS, which until now they have and opposed received. And quote,